On everything. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Collecting Profit, episode number 20 freaking 6. Holy smokes, man.
Half a
Can't
year,
believe
man.
it's half a
That
year already.
this is
Half
the
a year.
yep
That's
halfway mark.
that's pretty freaking awesome and everything, you know. So welcome. Sushi boy, what is happening? How are you? Thanks for popping in. Um, we're waiting on our guest. As soon as he gets here, we will go ahead and get him going and everything, you know. But until then, you know, we will do what we got to do. So, my gracious co-host Anthony, how are you, sir?
Can't complain, man. It's been a busy week, but I'm off on Wednesdays, so it's always a day that I'm well rested and excited to connect with you guys and excuse me, just talk cards, talk eBay, talk business, talk all the all the things that our show's known for at this point.
Yeah. Yep. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Yeah, we are on StreamYard. That's what we're on. It's StreamYard, not Yard Stream there, Sushi Boy. I mean, but don't worry about it. We all have a little bit of issues. I did get a message. There has been a hiccup. So we'll see what is going on. I don't know if that means we may have to postpone, but we'll find out here in a little bit. So but
On the
anyway,
plus side, it's a big week of hobby news, so
it is a big week of
nothing
hobby
else. We
news,
have a lot to
man.
talk about.
Big week. A lot of stuff going on. You talked about it on your channel, Anthony. What do you think? And you mentioned the merger, you know, with
Yeah.
CSG and CGC, and you know the one thing that I took out of that video, and it's funny. I was, hey Craig, how you
Oh,
doing?
Craig.
No hiccups there, buddy. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. You know, I agree with you wholeheartedly when you said, what does it really mean? What those two companies merging doesn't really mean anything. Like, I don't think all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh. Now, the one thing it could do is maybe potentially could it, I don't know how many people from the, let's say that we're dealing with CSG, right? That was the card. No, that was which one's the card one now?
Well, technically they both do cards, but CGC is the new name.
Right.
CSG was the sports division.
So with CGC, and they did the money and the coins, like
Mhm.
I would think that anybody who did there knew that they already did cards, because that really was big. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, all that kind of stuff, right? They were into the non-sports cards. I think maybe if there's a bump, it may give the sports cards guys who didn't know for whatever reason that maybe, wow, they do coins and money and comics and video games and VHS and who the heck else knows, you know,
Yeah,
what else, you know, they could potentially do. So,
I've
but I
submitted
agree with
with
you.
them, and I had no idea that they did VHS or even video games at this point. So
Yeah.
they've definitely expanded a lot on their business and their offerings. One thing I've seen just over the last like 24 hours, the Marvel community is kind of like really pissed off with them right now because the big thing with them is matching labels, and they want their cards to match their comics. So the comics have a blue label, kind of like the CGC grading had.
Right.
So up until this point, like their Spider-Man cards were matching their Spider-Man comics, and now they're going with the CSG label and all of that stuff. So it's going to completely change all of that. So I'm wondering if they're going to also update like the comics and the other types of things that they're grading with the new label as well. So that way people aren't mad like, hey, my comic book has a blue label, but my card has like a, what is that, like a dark green label or
Yeah.
whatever type color it is now.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, you know, I don't, you know, I don't, to me, I don't know how that, I mean, I understand that's a different group of people, and it is, you know, they are, you know, very regimented in like the way they like things. I get that part.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like the idea about the hey, send your 9 5s in, and now they'll be 10s.
Mhm. They did the same thing with CSG like several months back when they changed the grade scale. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. So, I mean, what do I care? I mean, if you want to send your card in because you got a 9 5, you can get a 10. Hey, go for it.
the way I really look
I
at
may
it,
have to go back into my box where I keep my slabs and see if I have any in there. And if I do, what the hell? For $5, whoop,
yeah.
get in there.
The way I really look at it though is it's still going to be the same service. It's still the same company regardless. Whether it says CSG or CGC, that would be like if you were to buy cards from Picksburgh on eBay, would it really matter if you came to Anthony's eBay store or Marty's eBay store, or if it was just one eBay store that said Picksburgh? You're still buying a card, so it's basically the exact same service. It's just, rather than it coming from CSG or CGC, it's literally coming from, they're going to have one division now. So
Yep.
honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if they're going to have like a lesser labor cost now because they're combining these two grading units into one.
Yep.
What's up, Chad? Good to see you, brother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice, man.
Chad's gave you a big thank you.
Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate you stopping by, man.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it moves. Like I said, I can see it moving the needle maybe on non-sports card stuff because maybe those guys and girls that were sports card only guys that love their slab and everything like that. Now all of a sudden they see, wow, hey, I could go ahead and I can do my comic books. I can do my coins, my paper money, and other stuff like that. So I can, I can see, I can see that part, maybe ramping up for them, but I don't think it does anything for them in the sports cards. Like I don't all of a sudden know like I understand they move up as far as quantity goes, but we all know. I mean, there's two different slabbing reasons. You slab for PC and you slab, for money, right? And we all know that until somehow the playing field gets leveled, if you have a card and you want, if you have this, this Drew Jones and this Drew Jones is worth money, you're not gonna go to anybody other than PSA because I can get the most money for it. Now, it depends on how fast you want to get that money. You know what I'm saying? Like you may go SGC and you get it back in 10 days and you get it on the market and maybe you get $30 less for it. But if it's a hot card, you sell it while it's still up there before everybody who sends them in, they get them and then the price starts to go down. It's like with a new release, right? When new release comes out, what do people do? Man, you want to be first to market, so you don't really care. You're looking for the fastest turnaround time.
Yep.
From that
and sometimes that's key depending on what you're sending in, because like what I'll use for example is like stuff that I sent off during the pandemic to PSA. Now, granted, you're not going to be getting like 1 year wait times anymore with PSA, God willing. But I'm busted on a lot of the people that sent in. Like I keep bringing up Sekou Demboya. That guy's going to haunt my dreams worse than Freddy Krueger at this point. You know what I mean? Like guys like him that have been sent in, Bowles, Rui Hachimuras, which Rui got a little bit of resurgent with the Lakers, but nothing worth really grading his cards for, in my opinion. But these are all guys that were graded heavy in the pandemic, like the Tyler Heroes of the world, those type of guys. And like nowadays, like if you're just getting those cards back, you're probably not getting your grading fee back, especially if you paid pandemic pricing,
right.
Even now paying $20 a card, you might not be getting your money back on a Rui Hachimura. Definitely not on a Sekou Demboya. I don't care if that's sucker 10s.
Not unless maybe you got a 1 of 1. But then again, depending on what the price is, depending on what range, I mean, I'm assuming that even that wouldn't get an upcharge, because of what do you call it?
You want to know the sad thing?
what do you call it, the dollar value brackets that PSA has, when they automatically upgrade your fee if a card is worth more money, which makes no sense to me because you didn't do anything different to that card. Like, I can understand if you did a different service. Like, if you said, hey, the card went from, you thought the card was $200, it's actually an $800 card, so we're going to charge you more, but we're going to get that one out there to you and with speedy shipping.
That's a good question. I don't think that they are, to be honest. I feel like it would be a conflict. From what I understand, most of their employees aren't, able to either have their stuff assessed by somebody they know, or like there's some kind of boundary that I would imagine they put into place to make sure that like there's like no fraudulent stuff going on. But yeah, that would definitely be a conflict of interest in my opinion.
I mean, I could
do
see
know that I do know that they do grade their stuff. Like, for example, Nat Turner has like one of the biggest PSA collections in like the world. But I mean, that was even prior to him, being in the role he's in. I mean, this guy's like a notorious collector regardless. But
I would wonder, or I would hope that if you are a PSA employee and you are putting your cards in, that maybe you need to have some kind of a, for lack of better words, like ghost name, right? So they don't know who you are.
I would imagine, because like, would you want to be the guy that tells Nat Turner his card's trash?
Right. Well, exactly.
You're like low man on the totem pole, just like trying to squeeze out that
Right.
paycheck every week, and you have
Crap,
to tell
I
Nat
can't give
Turner
this
that his
card an
card he
8.
just paid like what most people pay for vehicles or houses is trash. Yeah, that would be a rough one. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely imagine that they probably use some kind of a burner name or something like that, or
Yeah.
something to.
I mean, I would hope they would, right? I would hope that they would do that. That makes a lot of sense and everything. You know, but another thing, I mean, so then the other thing I noticed this week, I don't know if if you watch, but there were some cut autos in Series 2 baseball tops.
Yes, I saw the Lucille Ball that
The
may be a
loose,
secretarial auto.
yep, Lucille Ball, secretary. Now here's the funny thing. The part that gets me more than anything, Boatman, what's happening is that the guy who bought it, or girl who bought it, I don't know who it was, I don't remember, but just happened to see the word love peeking out through the pack, through the white part of the pack. Just happened to go ahead and see that.
Yeah.
Sure. Did you find that when you took all those cards, if you were at Walmart, Target, and like went into the back corner and was searching them and then brought all the other ones back up front? Yeah, that one was just sitting there. You were just able to go ahead and see it. I mean,
Or did they see it with this?
Right? Yeah. Did they have a little pocket scale? Have a little pocket scale that they bring and weigh the packs and everything. Oh my gosh, this one has a mem in it. It's a little bit heavier. Yeah, so that I found, that was very interesting. That was very interesting to hear. I don't want to say I was surprised, because I heard that a lot of back then, with the movie stars and stuff, that's what happened a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of people who have Lucille Ball autographs that were secretary autographs, and for other major stars from that era. I mean, that's just the way it was. I mean, you couldn't really, you couldn't really do much, much about it. It is what it is. Again,
I think the crazy part is that more collectors seem to have noticed this than like actual tops who put it into a card, like into a one-of-one card nonetheless.
Yeah, but I could. I mean, but I can kind of sort of understand that in a way, just from a standpoint of that. You know, if you were if you were looking at a bunch of autographs, that would look right
Hmm.
because that was very popular back then. But somebody else who knows the difference, but again, you're right. If you're putting a one of one into a you know into your product, you would think, hey, everybody, this is good. This, you know hey Joe, what do you think? Hey Mary, what do you think? Who's your so you would think, yeah, that no matter what, any of those cut autos one of ones, that they are authenticated, and they're not just, well, it had to be true, it has to be right, it was a letter from Lucille Ball that she wrote, and look, she printed
Yeah.
her name and then signed it.
My thing is, like, I get that they mainly deal in baseball cards and sports mainly, but it's like you couldn't have picked up the phone and like called Brian Gray, who like literally specializes in celebrity autographs, or like a JSA, or like anybody, just to like make sure you actually have like what you think you have.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. So that was interesting. That was a an interesting one. Then what did you think? And I don't know if you saw this one. Did you hear about the Army vet that found the 1952 Mickey Mantle card
I did hear about that. That's super cool.
in a frigging cheese box?
It's insane.
That is freaking nuts, man. I'm telling you, you wonder. I mean, I don't know. That's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, "Holy cow! What what are we gonna find next? Who's pulling? I don't know. Who's gonna pull? The Michael Jordan, or who's gonna? Is somebody gonna find another T206 set out there that's gonna have the Wagner in it, that's gonna be worth ridiculous dollars.
Hopefully, one of us do.
Yeah.
Not us. Somebody
Alright.
watching.
Yeah, hey, if somebody watching is, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Um, yeah, but it's I don't know. It's kind of there was some crazy things in the news. Anything that you wanted to bring up special in the news?
I mean, the big thing for me was the CSG CGC merger. I honestly think that this is going to be something you're going to start seeing a lot more with grading companies, because, like, from what we've seen right now, second, excuse me, second place with this merger, there's still like 10% of PSA. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's going to get to the point where if anyone's going to have a real like opportunity to take them down, like these B tier, C tier, maybe even D tier companies are going to have to start banding together. You know what I mean? And really make a run at it, because for a company like CGC, CSG to not have like great resale value, but still be considered, one of the more credible companies. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be an uphill battle for anybody to really take that crown from PSA.
Oh yeah. Could a college athlete agree to an NIL deal with Topps and it becomes their official first card? Will Levis Kentucky cards on eBay. I'm not sure if that is his official first card. That's always yes. There have been deals that have been made. There was this one that they came out with recently, which was, I believe, high school and college girls, called Tops Unlimited Athletes, which was all was volleyball, basketball, softball, lacrosse of women's athletes. So obviously they can that. But your last statement is the one that is always going to be the trickiest one. You're not
That's
sure
the,
if that's his first official card. I I
the
don't know how to
Bowman
answer I
U
don't know how to
is
answer that.
the Bowman U is technically his first official card. The problem is it's not licensed. So essentially, the first Bowman U, like if you're looking for like, hey, I want the first card of this person, that would
Right.
probably be it. But the thing is, you're not going to have it licensed right now, being that Topps doesn't have the licensing. So
Well, it's not
the
that.
first official one would probably be, something Panini. college uniform. Which sometimes is Don Russ for the quarterbacks.
Yeah, like because the Bowman U, that's right. The Bowman U did not have their logos on it, does it? I don't know. I don't
No,
think I have.
because it's unlicensed.
I don't
It's
think I have
basically
it.
the same. It's like their version of Prism draft picks.
Right. So the big thing you have, Reds Forever is I don't know if he will like a guy like that if he signs a deal because they're supposedly now who was I think it was C.J. Stroud
Mm-hmm.
and I think Bryce
Yeah,
Young both signed exclusive with Topps, but I think that's only for their autograph.
yeah,
So
and I
like
think that's for this year's set too, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
so like
Although
you
Marty has autographs from both of them from last year's set too. So
from Bowman.
yeah,
Right, but
so,
I think in their NFL uniform. So Panini will have Panini still has the NFL, so your first NFL rookie card of those guys will be in Panini, but you won't be able to get their autograph out of a Panini set. So, there'll be no number 1 pick or number 2 pick autographs in Panini's stuff. And I don't even know if Panini did it. I mean, I don't know if Topps did it with anybody else.
I wonder
You
if
know,
that's why they're doing the new redemptions where it just says like you're going to get a top, quarterback autograph from the next year's draft because they don't know who Fanatics is going to snap up from them. I
yeah,
don't know if you've seen that, like in this year's select that
yep,
they just dropped. Like, it's not even telling you which player you're getting the redemption of anymore.
yes, you
It's like
get
a
a
random
quarterback.
redemption.
Yeah. So that's gonna that will be interesting. That's gonna be interesting how that whole how everything starts to wean its way through, how things start to change slowly as, we go right ahead. You know, like for instance, with Panini, they released, baseball 2023 Donruss baseball. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I liked it because you get a lot of veterans, you get, and you get the rookie guys. You got the guys who some of them like, still in the minor leagues. So you got rated prospects, or they have some of the rated rookies and they were able to use some of the rated rookie cards because they're not part of the players association yet.
Mm-hmm.
From that standpoint. But that's what you're going to see coming out of Panini if Panini does anything in baseball. I mean, they did their what? They're 3-2, which is
Yep.
$200 a box. You get two not slabbed cards, but two encased cards and a pack, I think, of 3 or 4 cards, I think it is.
That just further proves my point with Panini baseball too. Like, they give you so much more value in baseball than they do in basically the other sports. Like, because in basketball, if you're buying that set, or in base or football, you're buying that set, it's Panini 1-1, which means you get one card and then one encased card.
Right.
But with baseball, you're getting 3-2.
Yeah.
And just like, in my opinion, the hits that you're getting in Panini baseball, like, are far and away better than, the hits you're getting in Panini football or Panini basketball at this point.
Yeah. You're still getting you're still getting good hits. I don't think you're getting unless you get, some of the bigger one of one cards, or you get if you're going to get one of the rookies and
Mm-hmm.
it's non-branded, it needs to be a Jackson Holiday, a Gunnar Henderson, it needs a Corbin Cowell, right? If you're getting a guy, Pete Smith, or Joe Johnson, who nobody even knows about, who gives a crap if it's 2 out of 5?
Yeah.
Nobody know. He's nobody, right? So I think in most cases, it's gonna be very, very hard on the 3-2
Mm-hmm.
for you to, get your money back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you're gonna have to hit, Ken Griffey Jr., Nolan Ryan, you're gonna have to hit something like that. I was watching Run Good Life, and he did a little box battle with one of his friends and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and he pulled a 1 of 1 out of his, but it was for Juan Gonzalez. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I may have won this box battle just because I pulled a 1 of 1, but I don't know if I won the battle because of value,
Yeah.
from that
Sure.
standpoint,
In 1990, that'd have been a big card.
That'd be a huge card. Would have been a huge card, I mean, it might have been even worth some stuff if they could have put the logo on it and everything.
Yeah.
But it's like, you wonder, like I was talking about, the sports and everything, what's going to happen with Webb and Yama?
Yeah.
You know,
It's insane to look at his card prices already. Like if you look at his Sports Illustrated for kids, it's already more than LeBron's, and it's
Yeah.
like he's never played a professional minute of basketball in his
Yep.
life, and you're already pricing him above what some people, not myself, consider to be the best basketball player of all time, which is insane. That'd be like saying, okay, we're going to start this guy off of like Jordan pricing.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And then what? I mean, then he had a Bowman. He had the the redemption and everything like that. I mean, just it's like I said, some of it's just crazy. Some of it's just absolutely it's absolutely crazy with some of the prices, the way they're going. I don't understand it anymore. I just don't. I mean, is there so much? It just seems as though the part of the hobby that gets dominated is the prospecting part and the investment part. I mean, which is great, but it sucks at the same time because what's happening now is these companies go, well, hell, we're only going to put the good stuff in the really expensive stuff. So it takes the normal guys like me and you and probably everybody in the chat and everything, everybody or probably everybody watching, it takes them out of the ball game to be able to try and attempt to get lucky and get one of these cards.
I mean, I wouldn't know exactly offhand, but I would imagine like the first card that comes out for either one of them is going to be pretty hot. Bronny's going to sell just because it's LeBron James' kid. Like, even if he sucks, like, I mean, like, look at all the hype around the Ball brothers. You know what I mean? Not saying that any of them suck. Like, they're all tremendous players. Like, even LiAngelo, who didn't make the league, was still pretty decent. But, like, there were still people going after Lithuanian cards of him and LaMelo before they even made it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember there was like it was a 1-of-1 auto of like LiAngelo and LaMelo from Lithuania that was like, like over $10,000 at the time. And it's like, man, like at the time, you don't know if either one of them's making the league. You know what I mean? Let alone LaMelo, who, made the league and, was super hot. But I mean, even his stuff is reasonably cheap right now, in comparison to like a lot of other guys.
Well, I think the
Lonzo's stuff is like non-existent right now as far as like price point.
Yeah, the Caitlin Clark Inception cards, her autographs are going for stupid money. Stupid money. Like her 2 out of 5. I don't know if it's sold because it's showing on eBay twice, but her 2 out of 5 red was about 7,500. Her out of 50. Her out of 50 went for, probably 2,000 or so. And that's just the Inception ones. I mean, that's her in her Iowa uniform.
Yeah.
Now, someone like her, although I don't know when she would be leaving, I don't think she's leaving now. She may give a boost to WNBA cards, but all of a sudden you're going to run out and be buying, WNBA to try and hit a Caitlin Clark. I mean, I don't know what. Huh?
I probably wouldn't, but then again, it's like I have no attachment to women's basketball.
Right.
Not that there's any issue with it. It's just that like for me, like I know Candace Parker from TV. I know Lisa Leslie pretty much from TV. You know what I mean? Like as far as, anybody who plays the game currently, like I know Caitlin Clark just from, either from like a Sports Center or like right here. But like, if I were to pick her out of a lineup, I don't know that I could. You know what I mean? If it were to be like in street clothes, picking her out of a lineup, I don't know that I could. You know what I mean? So like for me to run out and grab like a blaster centered around hype, it would have to be like a pretty good possibility that A, the card's in there, and B, that I can make my money back off the entire blaster just off of her card.
Yeah, and I don't know.
I have heard Brittany Griner too. She got in trouble, didn't she? She's the chick that got in trouble.
Yeah,
Or
she
is
was
that a
the one
different
who was in prison in Russia,
Yeah.
and then we made a great trade. But that's not. We're not a political channel.
I'll tell you what I do like to collect women of those like female wrestlers. You know, like I'm really big on Charlotte Flair, Britt Baker, Becky Lynch, like those type of cards I'm really big into collecting.
You know, I just found I'm going through trying to clean up and you know, trying to get more cards on eBay. I think I'm I don't know, I think I'm at like, you know, like 1,400, I think, or something, or a little somewhere in that general area. You know, trying to get more. My problem is that I wasn't organized.
Yeah.
I had a pile of cards here, a pile of cards there. There's probably 12 piles of cards right over there. You know, so what I did was in the back over there, you know, I was starting to go through and everything and looking at stuff and starting to, you know, so now I have a 4-row box, you know, over there. That's the box that I'm going to start, you know, pulling cards out to go ahead, you know, and list those and get those lists and everything. But as I was starting to organize and pull my cards together, I found 2 Rhea Ripley rookie cards, a Topps Chrome and a Topps Finest. I was like, ooh, hey, thank you very much.
Sure,
And I
there's
found
a value.
and I found a Page autograph. I was like, ooh, at a select. I was like, damn. I mean, she's Saray now, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I still like her as Page.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
those are some nice cards to find, man.
yeah.
One thing I've always found, like when it comes time to list the cards that I'm working on, being organized on that front is pretty key too. Like as far as like getting as much done as possible. Like one thing I've done is like if I'm going to list, I'm going to sort it before I even start by sport, and then from there I'll sort it out by player and by set. So like say I have like a bunch of LeBrons, I'll just work through a stack of LeBrons and then I'll move on to like Giannis or Luka or whoever I have, right? Or if it's like I don't have enough of like one player to do that, I'll just be, oh, I have a ton of like 2019 Prism. I'm going to just list all of the rookies I have from that set. And then that way when you go to list it, it's like, you know, 2019 Prism, you can just delete Zion Williamson and then put in Ja Morant. Delete that, put in Tyler Hero. Delete that, put in Rui Hachimura or like whomever. You know what I mean? Like it just makes it easy when you're dealing with like the exact same card minus like a key detail, and then you can just sell similar and boom, you're off to the races.
Yeah, and what's awesome with the way, you know, the eBay, you know, the listing tool is when you do sell similar and you come in and then you say, okay, hey, you know, so what I do when I list is because, you know, I'm not the best speller in the world. What I do is I pop up Cardboard Connection in another browser on another window. So then I'll say, oh, okay, it's, you know, set so-and-so. I'll bring, so if I do mine by sets rather than by player. So I do my sets, then I put my set in number order. Then I go to Cardboard Connection. This way, then I go and I go, oh, card number 2, Zion Williamson. Copy that. I paste it right into, because I do my setup the same way. You know, then what's great is once you put in there, as long as the name and the team, as long as you can fit all of that, your item specifics automatically change. All you got to do is accept, you know, and then I put the title in my description. So I copy and paste that in, and then I just do a quick search on what the price is. Change the price, boom, boom, list. So you're right. You can get through, you know, a lot. I mean, I still want to get Card Dealer Pro, because I want to be able to, you know, blow through them even faster. And some of the older ones, you know, like for instance, I don't know what's in it, but a buddy of mine sent me this large flat rate, which is probably full of basketball, hockey, maybe golf, and all that kind of stuff. And he sent me this box. He's like, I got a big box. You want it? I'm like, sure. All I had to pay was postage for it. So this is more a lot of probably base. There's going to be some stars and stuff, but it'll probably be a lot of a base. So trying to get that, those guys that are trying to complete their sets,
Yep,
Card Dealer Pro, probably help out a lot.
for sure.
Because it's crazy. Some of the cards, that's like the third box he sent me, and I've gone through and I've separated stuff and looking at some of the cards. It's like, holy cow! It's like I don't even remember this as a basketball card from back in like 2001 or 1998 or something like that. It's pretty cool. Some of the stuff that's in there. A lot of Hall of Famers, a lot of All Stars.
Yeah.
There was unfortunately, no Kobe rookies. I haven't found that yet.
Bummer.
I haven't found a Michael rookie. Found a bunch of Michael Jordan cards, but not a lot of rookie. But I
Is
think
is he a card guy? Like, is he still into cards?
He is, but not really. But he's more of a baseball guy.
Yeah. I
So
was gonna say if he's somewhat into him, he'd probably know a Michael or Kobe just to.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Yeah, but like I was saying though, but there was some. I think in one of the boxes, I think I got like one or two like Dirk Nowitzki rookie cards.
Nice.
And some other, again, some other
Those will
really
sell
good
too.
players. Yeah,
those will sell good. Like I saw Lonnie over at Shed Flips had like a whole stack of them that he was selling through. I think just a regular base tops one or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, like people still buy that stuff, man. And Dirk has that like international appeal that like people love him regardless of you're from the States basketball fan. Like I know people over in the Philippines that love Dirk, or people over in Europe that love Dirk. Like that guy's just like a household name regardless of where you're at.
Yep. Yeah. So it's interesting. Like I said, unfortunately, we'll see with our guest. I would think by now. I know he had some issues going on, so we probably will have to reschedule. But it's like, I don't want to talk too much about it, but like he's a guy who has pivoted his reselling business.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go ahead and have him on and find out, get a little bit more into the why and stuff. But I mean, I do find it interesting that we are seeing. So so for those of you who might not know, you bother with FEF cards, the league will probably fold another year, making the cards rare. It's funny you say that. In the next box that I am working on, I have a whole bunch of not of XFL cards, but not of this year's, the previous year. The one that I got a bunch before I bought I think one or two blasters before they folded this past time. So I have some of those that I was gonna list. I think I have like 3 or 4 numbered cards out of it. But I mean, you know, um, I don't know. That's a tough one, right? There will there be a market for them? Yes. Will they become rare cards? To me, a numbered card, anything, if the autograph or something like that, those are completely different. It really will be, do any of those guys make it decent in the NFL? If some of them get to the NFL and have a decent career, then I think the possibility of their cards being worth something is definitely potential.
If I cared about either one of those leagues, I probably would because I love football. But it's the same with like WNBA. I just don't care. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So like it would be like, oh, it's cool to like hit a cool card out of it, but it would be like, okay, let's just list it to eBay. Like I have no attachment, Whereas like if it is something that I do care about, like say like football where I can pull a Steeler, or basketball where I can get LeBron or some Cavs, or or even like wrestling where I can get some of my favorite wrestlers, or pop culture where I can get somebody I grew up really liking. You know what I mean? Like then that's like one thing, but like I normally come at it from more of like a collector standpoint, whereas like like I genuinely buy a card and I like want to hold on to it. Diamond Princess, what's up? Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, hello, Diamond.
But yeah, I mean it's difficult when you got to sell your cards, especially whenever you're trying to come at it from like a business standpoint too. You know what I mean? And for me, I build my collection by selling my collection at this point. So like there's specific cards I wanted, like one of my bucket list cards was a Walt Disney rookie card. So I took a bunch of cards that I really liked, you know, that were considered PC cards. And I was like, you know what? If I sell these specific cards, I could just buy the card I really, really want.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like if I were to go to a show and be like, hey, if I give you these like 10 cards for that Walt Disney, like I would do that all day long. So it's like for all that, why wouldn't I just take those 10 cards that I still really, really like and then just take the earnings from that and then go and buy the card that I really covet? So that's kind of been more like what I've been focused on lately. I'm trying to also do something because I'm a PC hoarder. Especially when it comes to my teams like Steelers and Cavs. I'm trying to only let myself keep one of my glass display cases for my graded PC. So that means like expensive cards. So like whatever, and I think only 36 cards fit in that case. So literally for my graded PC, all I can keep is 36 moving forward. And then like anything that's like a dollar card or like cheap dollar baller bargain box type stuff, I can keep as many of those as I want. I could have 100 binders if I want, because
Right.
I'm not going to break the bank building my binders. And like, because that's the stuff I really like is like, oh great, I just bought like 20 cards of Cordell Stewart or, you know, 30 of Sean Kemp in a Cavaliers jersey. You know what I mean? Like no one's going to give a crap about those, but I love those cards. You know what I mean? Like they're not worth anything, but so those are the type of stuff, like, since I am like more so a collector first than like somebody who is in this to make a buck. And, you know, you can tell that by the videos since I'm such a degenerate. But what I'm doing to kind of offset, since it is such an expensive hobby, is to out of like the expensive, what people will consider investable or keep for a long time cards, I'm only letting myself keep what I can fit in a case because I'm going to hang it on my wall behind me, you know, and like be able to look at it and like enjoy the cards all the time, as opposed to keeping them in like I have a stack in the side of the room of like 4 big 2-row boxes of just slabs that I never look at.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So why wouldn't I take those ones which I like and then get the ones I really, really want to look at every single day and then just decorate my walls with them?
He is here.
Hey, there we go.
Did you have Florida, too much fun? Did you have too much fun at the lagoon?
I wish that was the excuse. I wish that was the excuse. Florida storms hurricane season officially started June 1st. Summer starts today, but we wouldn't know it. We actually had a lagoon party that was scheduled for the first day of summer. It was canceled tonight because we had devastating thunderstorms that like blew everything everywhere. Internet. So our neighborhood is actually one internet. The whole entire neighborhood is one internet. We're connected to the main thing. So when one goes out, it's the whole neighborhood. There's no getting around it. And it takes 20 minutes sometimes. It takes 2 hours sometimes. Like that's
my goodness.
Yeah. It is, when it works, it is like perfect. When it doesn't work, you are shit out of luck. Like that is it. So ups and downs of having it. Anyway, so today only took 30 minutes. So that is, you know, great. Thank God for that. But anyways, thank you guys for waiting on me and being patient.
Hey, you know, thank you so much. So for those of you, this is Casey, Rockstar Flipper. I'll give you the floor to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome in. I know that you guys are on late, so thanks for being on late. All of you that joined their chat late, I see the comments. I just opened them up. Looks like the chat's been going good. Yeah, so I'm in Florida. I'm north of Tampa, about 20, 25 minutes from Tampa, where, like I said, it's hurricane season now. So every day rains. We lose the internet constantly. The ups and downs. Everybody's like, oh, my God, you live in Florida. It's great. It's amazing. It's amazing till it's not amazing. And then this is what we deal with. So, yeah. So anyways, that's it. Buyer, seller. I've been doing this. I've lived in Tampa since 2005. So we're coming up on 18 years that I've lived here. Actually, this month, 18 years this month. And I buy and sell everything and anything. I do direct sales, wholesale, the whole 9 yards, top to bottom. And we do YouTube, of course. Most people know me from social media, YouTube under the same name, Rockstar Flipper. The YouTube channel's been up since 2016. I think I created it in November of 15, but I didn't really upload until 16 on a regular basis. So we're coming up on 7 years from the YouTube channel. So it's been fun. I used to do these live shows every Thursday. When I moved, I stopped because we have a resident event where I live every Thursday, and because I was burnt out. The honest truth was every Thursday, and I swear, like Murphy's Law, we had like the President's Gala and every ballroom event scheduled every Thursday, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like there was no getting out of it. It was like, why don't we have plans on Friday? We have plans on Thursday then. And that's pretty much why I did it. But I miss the lives. I've done a few recently, and I do miss them. Like, what do you guys like? Tell me I like hearing it from other people. What do you think about live shows and like your scheduling and all? Like, tell me your thoughts and experience on it.
I mean, I love doing the live show. I mean, I had one where we were doing a reselling show, just strictly more about reselling, stuff like that, where we talk about it. And then we stopped that show, and I'm not gonna lie, I was bummed out when it ended. Oh yeah, I mean, I was really bummed out when it ended and stuff because
I did miss it the first couple of weeks.
I mean, I enjoy it and stuff because it's different. Making a video is one thing. When you're kind of sort of talking to someone, but you're not really talking to anybody. But at least here, you're talking to a human being, and stuff like that. So from that standpoint,
I think you're right, and sometimes that has a lot to do with like when you have a guest, when you have other people to like kind of bounce off of. You have like the banter, the back and forth. Is that like that's cool. Like I remember scheduling people way back in the day. God. 17, 18, and like always looking forward to like the new person because everybody you talk to is different, and being like, oh, who do I, who's this week, who's the schedule this week, who are we talking? And I love those interviews. I did them for months and months and months. They were like the best time. You're right, having somebody to like interact with. God, I live in this office of me, and there's no one else.
Exactly. Right. Or every now and again, you get Chewy that comes along. Right.
He's not interactable. He's
but as a market, the same thing. Every now and again, there's the dog bed right over there. Mine will be laying in there and everything. Be like, okay, hey, look, just turn around and say, hey, are you doing good? Okay, great. From that standpoint,
Make sure the dog's still breathing.
Yeah. But so. Following you for a long time, probably one of the
originals.
Yes, I mean, because I started reselling. Anthony started. So Anthony and I both were in the reselling world. I mean, we're still in the reselling world, but we kind of have shifted more towards like you have, which we're going to get into in a second. The sports card stuff and then the collectibles and everything. But you're probably you and a couple other people were some of the first channels that I found and started watching and so on and so forth. So I find it amazing with you because like I've watched you, you did the wholesale and everything, and then you bought, what was it, like 6 million remotes? you went to
Probably
you went to all that and everything, and the wholesale and everything, which is all cool and stuff. But I get, let's go all the way back to the beginning. What made you get into reselling?
Yeah, when I moved to Florida in 15, I was 19 years old, turning 20. I was born in 85, so I was turning 20 years old. My parents retired here. My dad's military, Army Corps engineer, general contractor in Florida. You remember in 05 was the boom before the crash. Everybody was doing everything. So my dad had a ton of work. He was, only 45 years old, retired from the military, made a lot of money coming down here. And he left me in Florida. I graduated high school. I was in college. I did 2 years AA. And he was like, you can come to Florida with us or you can live in Maryland. I'm from Baltimore, north of Baltimore. And I was like, oh, I'm going to stay back here. All my friends and family and blah, blah, blah. I thought that was a great idea. And after like 6 months, I was like, this is a terrible idea. Like, I want to go to Florida. So I moved to Florida. I moved to Florida, lived with my parents because I didn't have any money. I didn't have a place to live. I moved to Florida. And my dad's like, you got to get a job. And at the time, like we lived near a Walmart distribution warehouse. And they were paying like $8.50 an hour, which in 2005 was like $8.50 an hour. Like, go get it. Like, you're 19 years old. Like, go do it. And I'm like, okay, like I'm going to get a job. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't want a job. And I thought about like, oh, I'm going to work 8 hours in a day and I'm going to take home after taxes like $50. And I was like, that sucks. Like $50? Are you kidding me? And so I went on Craigslist, which I had already had a lot of experience on Craigslist, not just like personal buying, but I had done a couple little flips here and there. And I went on the Florida Craigslist in our area. I didn't have a car. I had to borrow my parents' car or ride a bike or whatever I could do. And I started making deals, and I would flip something for 40, 50 bucks in like 2 hours. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to Walmart's 200-degree warehouse in Florida. Are you kidding me right now? Yeah. And, after a couple of weeks, my dad was all over me because he's military. He's like disciplined. Oh, yeah. Get a job. Blah, blah. And I was like, Dad, I made like $1,000 since last week. He's like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, here's $1,000. And like 2 months later, I bought a car in cash. It was like $2,500 bucks. It was nothing big.
Yeah.
But, and then he was like, wow, like, are you kidding me? And so then once I had the car, I could start driving to downtown to like the more populated areas that had more deals. Because Craigslist in my area, I was 45 minutes from the main city. So I'm like, oh, how do I get these deals? Then I had a car, and then it was like game on. I was finding deals that I could buy for like 20 bucks and sell for 120. And yeah, so I started hustling like every day. I wake up and just I had a Nextel beep beep phone, like legit. Then I got a Sidekick, and the Sidekick with the QWERTY keyboard that flipped out was like the game changer. And then I started just killing it. And within a year, I had an apartment. Like literally, I rented an apartment in like near Tampa. So then the deals, I didn't have to go an hour to get to them. They were like right around the corner. And then we just started growing from there and crushing it. So that's how I got started. Remember, there was no Macari or Facebook Marketplace or Facebook didn't come around until 2007, 2008. The Marketplace, who knows when that came around. The Amazon existed, but it didn't have the third-party sales that we have now. There was no Instagram. There was no TikTok. None of this stuff existed. So we had like Craigslist in the beginning days of eBay with money orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old school.
Old school. When I discovered eBay in 2007, which they were only 11 or 12 years old at that time, we were still doing money orders. So that's how I got started on eBay, and that helped me grow even more. And so that's how, we had to make do with what we had. We didn't have all this TikTok-y. I don't even think we had MySpace back then. Who knows? But so yeah, we did what we did on Craigslist, and we did what we did on the beginning days of eBay, and that got me to being able to make $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and having at the time, $1,000 apartment. It doesn't exist anymore, but I had a $1,000 apartment. I had a $350 car payment. I had all this stuff where like I had to hustle to make all the bills, but I was on my own. I was doing my thing, and I was like, I don't have to go to Walmart every day. I don't have to go to a job every day. And so I was like, as long as I do this, if I do this till the end of time, I won't be mad about it. At least I don't have to have a boss and answer to him.
Yeah.
But I want more. And so that's when I just kept as more, and I feel lucky because as we did this growing, every new platform came out. We kept having opportunities to get on new platforms. So that was timing and luck. They always say part of what you do is skill and hard work, but part of it is luck for sure.
Yeah. So you're going through all this, and then all of a sudden one day you say, hey, I'm going to sell all of my clothing inventory and get into cards.
Yeah. So
how do you make that pivot?
So little known fact, when I started on Craigslist and all that, one of my first purchases, and this goes back to my teenage years, I actually played on the Pro Tour for Magic the Gathering. I was really highly rated. In fact, you could probably look it up on DCS and stuff, on Wizards of the Coast. But they were just one of my loves of my life, teenage, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. I knew the values. I was very good at collecting and flipping stuff. And so when I started Craigslist, I bought quite a few collections. I've always collected Magic the Gathering. I've always known the prices, and I've always kind of kept up on sports cards. I'm not like an expert by any means on sports cards. But Magic and Pokemon, I knew Pokemon pretty well way before the rage of Pokemon. But yeah, so when it came back around, clothes were the most abundant item. We can get clothes anywhere, right? And they're affordable and all that. And I sold clothes for a long, long time. I made a lot of money on clothes. I needed 3 storage units. I had 60,000 items. Like literally, that's what it took, was 3 storage units. I used to have a warehouse, but my warehouse was detached and it didn't have air conditioning. And it's 100 degrees in the summer. And I couldn't do it anymore. I'm like, this sucks. Yeah, I mean, naturally, I'm like, I can't sit here and work all day. It was miserable. So I'm like, I got to get rid of the warehouse. The warehouse was like over 2,000 square feet. But I'm like, if I get some storage units, I could probably, I had a deal. I was only paying $900 a month for that warehouse space. I knew it was going to be more for the storage units, but I was able, when we moved, I realized that driving to the office was an hour then. I'm like, I have to get storage units now. So I got them. We were paying almost $1,000 a month, but we had 3 storage units, and I'm like, okay, like we can store a lot here. 60,000 pieces is what you can store in 3 storage units of clothes, just in case anyone wants to know. Maybe a little more, but it was a daily trip every day. Storage unit, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Pick up items, ship items, store items, get new inventory, list items, blah blah. It sucked, but we made a lot of money, and it was really hard for me to do because we were doing just off the storage units. We were doing almost 10,000 a month in sales.
Was your storage units just your picking where you kept your inventory, or did you actually do photographing and stuff like that there?
No. It was literally 2 of the 3 were storage for everything that was listed in the bins, like bin 0 through 50, 50 through 100, 100 through 150. So all those were stored in 2. And the 3rd unit was all the unlisted inventory. So basically what we would do in the morning is drive to the units, which is about 5 or 6 miles from my house, pick up the items that sold from those units, and then go to the 3rd unit. They were all side by side, thank God. And then grab stuff to work on from the 3rd unit, bring it back to the house, work on that all day. Next morning, go there to pick up the shipped items and drop off the stuff that we listed and put it in the bins. That was pretty much the routine for the last year and a half. I don't even know how long we did it, a year and a half with this items. And it was great money. It was really good money, like great. I could store, I could buy anything I wanted. But it was wearing on me. It was burning me out. The drive, the storage units were, like I said, I think I was paying $980 a month for all 3 of them. They're really expensive in Florida, really, really expensive.
Yeah.
25 by 10, temperature controlled inside. They get a premium for that. So you're talking about 750 square feet. They were charging me $1.50 a foot, essentially, is what you're paying. It was just a lot. The overhead's $1,000, the back and forth, even the wholesale boxes, which were good. I'm paying for boxes, I'm paying for shipping, I'm paying for all this stuff, charging people, but the profits were there, but my mental capacity was not there anymore. And so I said, what can I buy that I can store in the garage? But if I store it in the garage, I can't just have like 1,000 items because you can't really scale on 1,000 items. I need something I can store tens of thousands of items.
Right.
In my garage, the clothing, after it overwhelmed me, was about 2,500 pieces. That's when we got the storage unit. So I was like, I can only store 2,500 pieces of clothes. What can I do 50,000 pieces of? And I went back to my old Magic the Gathering roots, and I was like, I love it. But then I realized I spent months. I couldn't get that many collections. They're just not out there as much. And a lot of people knew the price. And I was like, man, this sucks. Like, people were asking $13,000 for a $14,000 collection. I'm like, right. This sucks. There's no money. So I'm like, I know a little bit about sports cards. They're small, they're good. Let's see what we can do. And I started putting feelers out to all the people that have sold to me. And the results, like the people messaging me lots, was bonkers. I'm like, I probably had emails for like 50 million sports cards in a week. It was crazy. Awesome. This guy's got 10,000. This guy's got 40,000. This guy's got 100,000. I'm like, wow, like crazy. And we found one that was the deal. It was an estate sale. It was 400,000 cards, 70s, 80s, 90s. We all know 90s and 2000s is wax era, but there was a lot of 70s and 80s. Brought them in. Honestly, overwhelmed by the amount, but I realized that one pallet held 400,000. And even in my garage with 2 cars and a golf cart, I can hold like 3 or 4 pallets.
Right. I'm
like, I can hold 1 million pieces of inventory in this garage on the shelf. Yep. So that's what we did. And the other thing that I've always been very knowledgeable on is postcards. I own 3,500 postcards that were shipped out of Nazi Germany from the war, mid-30s, late 30s.
Oh, wow.
I bought them when I first moved here for $400. And they have sat in every house I've owned, and I've never touched them, never even opened them. We started cracking them open this week. Kate's listed a couple hundred of them from America and a few from Germany, but we have a bunch from Poland, France, Britain. I don't even know what they're worth. I'm going to do the work on them. I'm in Phoenix next week, but the week after, I think. There's got to be thousands of dollars worth of postcards. I had no idea. I have a very good friend, Popeye's Postcards, who he sells. Guy's got, 30,000 postcards active. And he saw the pictures of what I had and was like, whoa, yeah, like that's crazy stuff. So that's another part of it. I guess people call it ephemeria, but I like sports cards, trading cards, magic cards. It's just really cool. And I get to stay at the house and work and use my scanner and not have to drive back and forth. Yeah. Sign me up like all day.
Well, Anthony, you were on the Pokemon tour, weren't you?
Yeah, I used to play like the competitive TCG a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, and I used to actually technically be a professor, but it was through my church, so like theoretically it was so we could have Pokemon League at the church. It wasn't because it was actually like anything to write home about. It was just like you had to be one to run a league there.
Yeah.
So
no, I don't even know. I can't remember how I got started on Magic. Friends maybe, but I was in love with it, playing it, collecting them, flipping them. It was always my thing. Like to this day, I wish if I had the time, if I wasn't like a grown adulting adult, that I could sit down and just play Magic tournaments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be great.
So you're using a scanner with your cards?
Yeah,
and
Canon
your postcards?
R40. Yeah, Canon R40 for both. You can expand it from the small size cards to the bigger size postcards. It goes as big up into the people that have like those promotional poster things.
Oh, it's a big scanner.
It's good size. Yeah, I think I paid like $295 for it, brand new. But it's worth it. Canon R40. You can Google it, and it's fantastic. It can run in the sports cards. You can put like maybe 20, 25 at a time through it. Postcards, maybe like 10 or 15. But you can literally it takes front and back. It's double-sided. And you can change the DPI from 200 to 400 to 800. So it's really good quality. It catches the edges. I would do it for any cards less than like $20 or $30. If you have expensive cards, I would probably handle those manually and not run them through the system. But most of the stuff that I have is like $5, $10, $15. So it is what it is. But you can run hundreds of those an hour. You can literally just pump them through there and get all your photos. If you have a template, you can list a ton. Right now, my fiance is listing probably 100 a day.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, with 2 people, that's a good amount of cards and everything.
Yeah, you can bust them out fast. And like I said, just create a template and go to town. Like bam, 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 bam. Yep.
So the collection that you got, of the 400,000, was it all sports? Was it kind of geared towards anything one in particular?
No, it seems to be evenly split. MLB, NBA, NHL, and NFL. There's all 4. I think there's probably less hockey than anything. I think there's a majority football and baseball, a decent amount of basketball, but majority probably football, baseball. So like there's quite a few duplicates where I'll find 2 of something, 3 of something, 2 of something, 3 of something. A lot of like mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s. So like I'm finding a lot of like Steve Young, like 92, 93, 94, Reggie White, 89, 90, whatever his rookie years are. Derek Thomas, Kansas City Chiefs, he's, passed away now. Just all that sort of stuff, like their early years, like, they all were drafted 87, 88, 89, 90, whatever. A lot of that type of stuff. In baseball, I'm finding a lot of stuff like, early Montreal Expos with Ramirez. I'm finding a lot of stuff like Greg Maddux, early 90s Braves. And then you'll find 20 or 30 that are just players you don't know. Like I found very, very early, what was Chipper Jones, like 94, 93, 94.
Yeah.
And it's wax error, but they're still like $5 cards, $6 cards.
Yeah.
So, and the cost of goods was a third of a penny, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if I get rid of 60% of them, I'm at a penny each.
Right.
So, it is a lot of time consuming stuff. What's good is I can recognize those players where I can just flip and go, Reggie White, Chipper Jones, Greg Matt, and just pull them all out. So then I don't have to look up 100,000 cards. I can look up 1,000 cards. So.
Yeah. So how did you change your filing system from clothes to cards?
So the clothes were in bins, bin A, and then we'd have it could hold 50 items. So it'd be A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. The new ones are small bins, flat. They can hold sports cards, 2 rows. I think we can hold 250 sports cards in one bin. And so the bin is still bin A, and then it's bin A1 through 250. So A1, A2, A3, A4. And the sports cards are in penny sleeves with a sticker on them. A1, A2, A3, A4, and they're in a row. So if we sell A50, she can just flip through real quick, pull out 50 and go. The postcards, same way. They're just in a kind of wider bin. And that's pretty much it. Everything's labeled with a bin letter and a number, and we can find items in seconds.
How have you seen your sales going?
Yeah. So we just started with the postcards, for example. We have about 300 active. We sold 30 of them in 2 weeks. The sell-through rate on postcards is nuts. The sports cards, we have about 600 active, and we're selling a couple per day. I think it's going to take some momentum. My store is not known for that. It doesn't have that sell-through rate on that category. I do know for a fact when you change up categories, eBay can definitely track the categories you're selling. If your whole store is clothing and all of a sudden tomorrow it's all toys or all sports cards, it's going to kind of take it a minute to get that algorithm switched on for it to know that that's what you're doing now. So yeah, I mean, generally speaking on clothes, we would sell one item per 100 a day. So if I had 1,000 items, I'd sell, 9 or 10 a day. I don't know the sports card sell-through rate accurately yet, but I imagine we'll find out in the next few months. We've only been doing it for a month, consistently. So
yeah. How do you think? Do you think this is going to affect your YouTube channel in any way?
Good question. I have a lot of viewers that sell clothing. They sell shoes. They sell accessories. So, I don't. Perhaps that'll be the next video I make. Like, what do people think of watching content that doesn't necessarily coincide with the material that they sell? So I would imagine that a lot of clothing sellers probably watch a lot of clothing YouTubers or social media people because they feel connected to them. Like, oh yeah, I bought that pair of American Eagle jeans yesterday or whatever. If they don't have any knowledge or care about sports cards or postcards or what have you, that might discourage them. That's a solid point.
Yeah, but overall, from watching you, your channel is not just it's more broad reselling skills than it is specific. Hey, you need to go get Levi's this number, these sell like crazy, or this Robert Graham shirt, or you always add that stuff in, but your primary focus is how to get people to resell. And I would think that really the item really doesn't matter as you start to get those skills.
Yeah, I would say that you hit the nail on the head. Like, a lot of the videos I try to do are generalized, like how to do accounting, how to do shipping, how to do, how to not screw stuff up, like 101. You're right. And I hope that a lot of people watch for the general knowledge. We cover reselling news stories, like businesses, stores going out of business, companies filing lawsuits against Amazon, or I try to cover all that stuff so it gives everybody sort of an angle to watch me. That wasn't on purpose, to be honest with you. I just sort of covered that stuff because I thought it was cool. And then I realized, like, oh, people might watch this because they're not interested in American Eagle jeans, but they are interested in what's going on in the world around us and business and stuff. So, yeah, you're right. The general knowledge, I hope, keeps the audience in. There may be a few people that don't care so much, but whether we're selling clothes or whether we're selling sports cards or remote controls, they're all widgets to me. I learned this lesson from a really smart guy a long time ago. It doesn't matter if you're selling remotes or clothes or sports cards or signed helmets. They're all just a widget that gets you money. Like, you're buying an item and you're selling it for X. And there's people that make money on lollipops. I got a friend that used to work for a lollipop company. I talked to him yesterday for an hour. They make 1 million lollipops a day.
Holy crap.
They make like 3 cents a lollipop. But they make their money. The owner's like a multi-millionaire. And I'm like, this guy makes a living on selling dum-dums all day. Like, are you kidding me right now? There's people who probably are in businesses that sell stuff that never even knew that they would be selling who knows what, right? Like, they sell cables or sports cards or signs or whatever. They didn't think they were going to do that. They thought they were going to be an astronaut when they were a kid, but now they're selling dum-dums for a living and making millions of dollars doing it. So I think that most people understand, like, I don't care what I sell as long as I can make money on it. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what the bottom line is. I mean, you have to go with, you have to like what you're doing, but then, again, it's the mindset of the same thing. Anthony and I, we were just talking about that, before. It's like, there, you have the cards or so-and-so that you like and everything else becomes just a mechanism for you to get the stuff that you want.
Yep. No, for sure. And I never thought I would sell remote controls or any of this stuff. Like, it was just something that presented itself. You have to look for the opportunity and jump on it.
Do you find the collectibles to be more enjoyable than like just your run of the mill, like, hey, I'm going to do T-shirts today or remote controls or XYZ?
I probably shouldn't say this, but absolutely. No, I don't hate clothing. There's some people that genuinely hate clothing. I don't hate it. Some of it's pretty cool, but I don't enjoy it. Clothing sucks. Like it's very monotonous and annoying. But the collectibles, the sports cards, the Magic. Oh my god, I love it. To me, it's like I'm looking through stuff and I'm like, oh my god, like look. I love it more. I get this question a lot too, and I'm going to ask you two both this question too. If you could sell anything in the world, like if it could just present itself to you right now, what would it be?
For me, it would definitely be cards. Just 'cause I'm a card nerd. So
Yeah, I mean, the more I do it, I'd have to lean towards that because it's just because it connects with something that's more real, if that makes sense. Like looking at it, I mean, like if maybe if it was like concert T-shirts where you go, oh man, I remember I love that band or so on and so forth. But when it's Levi jeans or a pair of shorts or so on and so forth, it's like, okay, they're denim jeans. Okay, whoop you do. But oh my gosh, this is Drew Jones, who was the #1 pick, and who knows what this could wind up being. It's different.
Yeah.
It definitely is different.
Yeah.
And I never thought, but to your point, I didn't think I would end up selling and getting into sports cards.
And asking me, a 16-year-old me, about Magic the Gathering, for me, it was a hobby. It was fun. I was playing on the Pro Tour for a couple years, and I would never like, oh, I'm going to make a living off of that. But I promise you, if I could buy nonstop Magic collections right now, that's what I would do. I absolutely love Magic. Pokemon's not a half bad. I never played Pokemon. Like I played it as like fun, but I never played it like professionally. And I know how it works. To me, it was cool and it was fun. But back then, I was like, oh, this is the nerdy Magic. This is nerdy Pokemon, like whatever. And I watched Pokemon. Like I watched the cartoons. I grew up in that. I'm like, oh. But now I look back at it and I'm like, damn, man, like that was cool as shit. Like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. No, you're right. And like, I look at it from a different so me being, older than you guys, I started collecting in 1976, 77. Yeah.
Yeah, we were both negative ages then.
Yeah. Pittsburgh can't be too much more.
I think I'm a year older. You said you were born in 85. I was born in 84.
84, yeah. I figured you were right there with me.
Yeah, I'm 64.
Oh, he's almost my dad. My dad is. Wait,
my birthday is Friday.
Happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday. Are you still oh no, you're past Gemini. No,
I'm Cancer.
Cancer, yeah. Gemini cuts off. Yeah. My dad is gonna be 70. Yeah.
But what I find amazing in the hobby today versus when I did, I'm not saying that we didn't look at the value of cards. I mean, I did not. Like when we would go to the candy store, we would go and we'd get a pack of cards and everything, we would go through and the cards that we needed for our collection, if we were trying to build a set or if it was just guys that we liked, all the other cards that either we already had doubles of or that we didn't need, we'd kind of give them, you'd give them to your buddy and go, hey, look at these, whatever you need. Oh, I need these 5. Fine. You take those 5. I need these 3. It wasn't like it kind of sort of is today. It's like, well, I'll trade you this, but this is a $50 card. I really want that $20 card. How are we going to come up with the $30 difference? So it really has changed, a lot. Like one of the things Anthony and I talk about, I don't say it irritates me, but it surprises the hell out of me, is that when we go to these shows and these friggin' I don't know where I don't care where they get the money from. That's immaterial. But you get these little kids that carry these little Zion briefcases, and it's like, oh yeah, and they whoop around. Well, here's a Kevin Durant rookie card, and here's this rookie card, and here's this guy's rookie card. And it's like that Zion case is worth probably almost my whole collection, and who knows what else you have at home. And wait a minute, you're 14. What in the hell are you doing?
They must be the kids that buy all the cards that their parents cancel on us.
Right.
That's not probably far off. I went to a trade show / conference, I guess you could call it, in Orlando. They have it every year at the World Marriott, and it was 2019, right before COVID. It's called Playlist Live, and it's kind of an off-topic thing, but it resonates with what you just said. I pulled up there, and outside of valet was, I kid you not, I have a picture somewhere of it, 15 Lamborghinis in a row. And I'm like, what is going on here? And this is a YouTube social media type conference, type gathering. And I pull up, and every one of these Lamborghini doors flip open, like one after another. It's like 13-year-olds crawling out of them, 16-year-olds crawling out of them. I'm like, and I'm, this is what, 5 years ago. I'm 32 years old, 33 years old. I'm like, what the hell is it? And all these kids get out, and they got their Gucci shirts on and their gold chains over their necklace, and they've got their rock in there, whatever. And they get out, and I'm like, they're wearing more than my net worth. Like, I don't even understand this, right? And so I spent the weekend there, and these kids had so much stuff. They didn't even realize what they had. I guarantee none of them even know what 10 grand means in theory, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I go there, and some of these kids, a couple of them they weren't resellers, but they were those kids that make the videos on trending topics ish, and they would make like, I bought an Amazon pallet for $5 or whatever, and they had all this stuff, and a couple of the kids there were kids that were hooked on the Pokemon before Pokemon was big in COVID, and because Logan Paul or Jake Paul or whatever they had seen wear, and there was a kid wearing a necklace with a Pokemon card on it. I can't tell you what it was. It wasn't Charizard, but it was something else. And he's just like parading around in his Gucci shades and his Gucci sideways hat and all this stuff. And I'm like, this kid, like, I'm gonna go take him out to the pool in a minute. Like, seriously. and I see that, and I'm like,
see if you can swim.
Yeah, see if you can swim. Yeah. And I just remember that it's etched in my brain where, like, I see all this. I'm like, man, these kids didn't live back in the 80s or 90s where it was different. Like you just said, I can remember my early days of Magic the Gathering, even like the late 90s. And nobody acted like that. We're like, oh, there's a $30 difference. What are we going to do with that? No, it was like, oh, hey, you've got that. I've got that. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's a different world now.
You just traded. I mean, that's because what that's what you thought about. That's the way it is and everything. So, with the hobby, as you start to, get more involved, do you see yourself getting involved in more of the newer stuff, or do you see yourself kind of sticking towards a little bit of the older stuff?
Getting involved in the newer stuff requires continuously educating yourself. I can remember the old MTG days. Like every time a new set comes out or a new thing drops, you have to be on top of it. That seems like a lot of work. That seems like old me is not up to that. Buying the old stuff, buying collections from people, maybe estate sales or people that passed away, as sad as it is, or people that just want to get rid of stuff. They found stuff in mom's basement or whatever. I feel like that's sort of my neighborhood where I can salvage stuff and buy stuff from people that just need to get a couple bucks and get rid of it. Trying to stay on the competitive, like that's cutthroat, like trying to buy new boxes or new stuff and trying to stay on. I feel like that's a lot of competition that I don't know that I want to get involved in.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely crazy. It's like one of the things, we were talking about, we talk about a lot is that, you get these cards now of these kids. We were just talking about the kid, who's going to get drafted, number 1 tomorrow by the Spurs, Victor
Wembanyama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His cards are going for prices that is absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, the dude hasn't even been drafted yet.
Yep. 7'5", 8 1 inch wingspan, bonkers. Yeah. But he could be the next Greg Oden that breaks his ankle every 3 months or something.
Exactly what I was just thinking. Especially with that frame too. He has like no girth to him.
No, he's very scrawny. He's very lanky and I know that he's played, in France professionally in their France league and all that, and he's shown that he can do it. But the NBA is a whole nother thing. When Giannis comes down on your ankle and it's over, like done deal. So you're right. It's always a risk, and we see that. You see that in NFL too, when like they draft a guy. People don't tend to take a running back very high, but we've seen enough running backs come through and just not last more than 2 seasons or 3 seasons, and it's tough. Like, is this guy going to be the guy? Everybody's trying to be. Oh, is this the next? Who's Spurs big man? Duncan. Is this going to be the next Duncan? Yeah. Do we know? We don't know. Is he going to be the Greg Oden that fizzles out? I don't think anybody's going to be the next Shaq.
I've heard the Spurs came out and said that Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker are all three going to personally mentor him. So
I sure hope so. He's going to need it.
That'd be a great for the investment.
He's like 19 years old. He doesn't know anything. Like he's so. And when he comes here, he's not used to being in America and being, in Texas and being all like he's gonna
be in San Antonio, man.
San Antonio, the distraction, just anywhere. And when they go to play LA and they go to Los Angeles and he's wandering around Rodeo Drive or whatever,
he might be partying like Zion.
There you go. That's a perfect. Here comes Zion, the next Michael Jordan, and now what's he played like 12 games in 3 years? Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So you never know. There's always flops, but the market doesn't care about later. They care about now. Like the market right now is Wemiana is like $8,000. Here's this card. Here's that, and I'm like, God, I see it. I keep up on it. I watch it, and I'm like, holy crap! I watch a lot of Whatnot shows. What do you got? You guys probably watch quite a bit of, or at least keep up on it, right?
I try to every once in a while. I just tried doing a live over there the other day too. Just I haven't done a live on there in like months, but I try to keep up a little bit of like what's going on and trying to stay competitive because there's obviously some stuff that moves better over there than even on eBay because there's people ready and willing to buy, if you catch them at the right time. Like myself, it's a little harder because I don't really have too much of a following on Whatnot. So it's like I'm competing with like all of the people who are like big breakers or like people that just have a little bit more of a following on the platform. Whereas like on eBay, like my store is like nothing special, but like there's like 200 plus people that follow it. So at least if I post something, like they're getting a notification or XYZ. Whereas if I go live on Whatnot, like
who knows?
There might be a few people that see me if they're not on the app, like looking for who's live.
Actively looking for who's live. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And organic search too.
Yeah. There's going to be a whole bunch of people come middle of July, end of July that are on eBay that are going to have to look for a new place to sell breaks and stuff because eBay's already said that they're going to start restricting a whole bunch of people. So
I've heard the shops are getting restricted too, like to where they can't even sell break spots anymore.
Yeah,
shops?
It's approved. Shops.
Wow.
Yeah, people. So the problem with that, and I'll tell you just from what I've read, I read a few Reddit posts and I read a couple other things of people that were in that situation. There were so many scammers, so many people taking advantage of that and like ripping people off that like the bad apples ruined it for the people that were doing legitimate sales. So
I'm sure.
Thanks for that, like I guess. But I hate Reddit, but I have a love-hate with it, so I read a lot of it. But a lot of those posts are pretty good, like where the people are, you can track back their Whatnots and eBay accounts, and they're like, "Yeah, this was amazing, but now it sucks." Like, screw you.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I mean, getting back to Whatnot, I'm more like Anthony. I mean, I've tried it a couple times, but the problem that you have, or the problem that I have, is that I would love to go and, put not big cards, but like, the 5 to 10 to 15 to $20 cards there. But when you only have 8 people, 9 people in your room and everything, you can't start that card at $1 and expect it to get to that $10 mark, or hell, or even at $1 and get it to $5.
$5, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it makes it hard. That's why it's crazy, not even from a card perspective. Forget the card perspective, but when you see the other people, like when you see, Daily Refinement, $600,000 on Whatnot, when you hear about, your other buddies, Rally Roots.
Yeah, they live
that's what I had to remember. If I did this, I knew you would. I knew if I couldn't get your name, I knew if I did this, you'd know what it was.
Yeah, Ryan and Allie live actually 30 minutes. Their ranch is 30 minutes from here.
Yeah.
I go around there. They do vintage T-shirts, which we all know, and they have an audience. They took the YouTube, they took the Instagram audience, which some of us have, and just went all in on Whatnot. And Ryan will probably be mad at me if I share this, but I think he shared it anyways. They don't focus on eBay at all. Like they literally list like 20 items a week on eBay, and it's oddball random things, but they do. And this is just a guess based on what Ryan told me at Boss Reseller last year, 750,000 last year on Whatnot. So that's huge numbers.
Yeah.
It makes sense that they would.
Yeah, and their eBay maybe did 150. So that tells you in a year of Whatnot how big you can scale up, because their eBay store has been around forever, same as mine, under $150,000. And you immediately go to Whatnot, and in 1 year later, you're hitting $60,000 a month. Like, are you kidding me right now?
Yep.
Just the sheer volume of it. Even if they're working on 20% margins, you're talking about 150, 200,000 in profit. And that's what you were doing in gross on eBay if you were lucky with the amount of work that it takes. It was staggering. Like, I talk to Ryan all the time, and it's just like, he's right. And I want to love it. I want to do it, but I don't know. It's so weird for me. You have to have the right thing. In fact, just inside look, I'll just show everyone. There he is. This is from today. Let me zoom up. Ryan Root. He's in my phone. Yeah, so,
Nice.
Yeah, we talk all the time, and it's good for him. He figured it out, and he did it, and he had that there's certain categories, and sports cards and breaks and stuff are the category, but you do have to have the audience. You can do it organically, but you're not going to start off that way. You got to have a social media audience that you can send over and get 50 people in that chat right away.
Right.
Yeah.
And then build the store up where you're like, every Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every Saturday night, whatever it is, we'll be here at 6 p.m. It's like a TV show. You check in to watch Friends at noon every Friday. You want Friends to be on every Friday at noon. And
Right.
you want, Mike or Picksburgh to be on every Friday at noon. You expect it. And then when you expect it and they show up, 100 people will show up. You'll be there.
Yeah.
And then when you expect it and then it doesn't happen, then it's like, oh crap, you go find somebody else.
You go find someone else. Yeah.
You develop, you find someone else. You're like, oh wow, these guys are pretty cool. I'm gonna hang out here.
Yep.
And then it's hard to go back.
Yep. And you got to be
Yeah.
sourcing the inventory to constantly have fresh stuff to put in those shows. You can leave stuff in the store for the buy it now, but you got to have new stuff to present to them. Catchy stuff, giveaways, items you can do. There's so much with Whatnot. And I was like, oh, like this seems like a lot of work.
I think part of the reason that I don't engage in it more is like, and you wouldn't think of it being that like he and I do a weekly show, but like sometimes just being live in front of people, it's like I just don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So I would rather sit there alone in my room and list 100 cards than spend an hour live.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I get that way 8 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. The live shows, I feel like if you're doing a live show like we're doing right now and we're talking, like that's one thing. But when you're on a live show trying to sell stuff, like do business, like buy stuff, that's like another kind of like overlook. Like that's tough. Like
it's the worst too when you feel like you're begging people to buy. Like, come on, there's only like so many more break spots, or like come on, guys, it's only a $1 start, or whatever. It's like, meanwhile, like if you just listen to eBay, like eventually whoever wants it will buy it, or they won't.
Well, you get in a way, you start doubting what you have if you put something up and no one even like says, forget bidding on it. But if no one even's like, hey, anybody want to see anything special?
And there's no like response.
And there's like, oh crap. What am I gonna do now? Holy smokes. I'm in deep, deep trouble,
Yeah, nobody wants my stuff. Yeah. That would be depressing. I did Whatnot shows, and you know what? I had the audience, and I did a Whatnot hat show, and I put 50 hats up. We sold 45 of them. We did like $350 in sales. We netted like $4.95 per hat, and I paid like $1.25 per hat. So it was fine. I made like maybe 180 in profit in an hour show. Probably took me 30 minutes to set up. So it was cool, and I could see the turnover. And I'm like, but if I had listed all of these, and I get the mindset, if I had listed all 50 hats, let's say I took the hour and a half and I listed the 50 hats, even if I could get them up in an hour and a half, which is fair, I guess. What would be my average sale price? Let's say it was $20, and I'm netting, say, $12, right? Because $4.50 shipping and $2.50 in fees and $1.50 in cost of goods. So I'm netting like $12, and I'm going to sell the same 45 of them. And I'm really bad at math, but 45 times 12 is $540. I made $180 on the other one, so I'm going to make an extra $360. But how long is it going to take 45 hats to sell organically on eBay.
Right.
Yeah. A while.
So yeah, it could take a while. It could, but I think that's why a lot of people just build up the stores and just set it and forget it. They list it, forget it, and just keep building and keep building and keep building and keep building. They don't have to go on those live shows. It's two different business models, like volume, couple dollar profit versus just set it and forget it. So it works either way. I like to set it and forget it. I love live shows. Obviously, I've done them on YouTube. I feel comfortable in them, but I don't know if I could run the business if every week it relied on me running 2 to 3 live sales shows like QVC, right? Like,
well, and I think you have a difference also when you look at different categories. I think, like the sports card category, I don't know if there are a lot of people out there that are resellers looking to, buy it and then resell it. I think there are certain categories, maybe like, toys and stuff like that on Whatnot, that they are looking to get it at a super cheap price to turn around and resell it.
Mm-hmm.
From that standpoint. So I don't know how much that, helps or hurts, from that standpoint. But speaking of shipping, how do you feel about the standard envelope, eBay standard envelope?
So obviously the price can't beat the price. 60 cents for anything 1 cent, and then it goes up from there up to 2 cent and 3 cent, a little increase. The tracking is good, but it's not perfect. The tracking can take a while to update, and so it could take forever to update, if ever. I have a friend in Chicago that ships like 20, 30 sports cards a day. He actually sells quite a bit, and he says that he constantly has customers messaging him that they didn't arrive. Things were delayed, things were taking weeks to show up, and then he refunds it, and then it shows up a week later. I have not experienced that. So Popeye's postcards, I actually asked him about it. He said he ships about anywhere from 400 to 500 postcards a month, and he loses one. Like one a month is like a guarantee for him, maybe 2. But I feel like those odds are pretty good. The other guy from Chicago, he just seems like he's having really bad luck. We have shipped in a month, we've shipped over 100 sports cards and postcards, maybe like 110, I think, is probably the total. And I haven't had a single person come to me yet. Nothing. I have not, full transparency, I have not gone back, which is what my friend said. Go back and look at the tracking for all of your orders and see where they're at, see if they've been delivered or if they're still hanging out there. I'm not even going to stress myself with that. If somebody comes to me, I'll deal with it when it comes, but nobody yet. So
yeah, I've had a couple, but it hasn't been the horror stories that I hear. Oh my gosh, it isn't worth it. And I'm like, well, if you're selling $1, $2, $3 sports cards, or even $5 sports cards, you can't sell those first class.
No, you're paying $350 just to ship.
I mean, you just can't. It's too, they're you'd want to be like, great, yay, I can go ahead and I can have a better tracking number, but I'll take my chances the other way.
Yeah, well, I did the math for people. If you sell 100 cards and you're paying 60 cents, if you're paying first class is $360, you're saving $3 a card, and 100 cards is $300 you saved guaranteed. Even if your cards are $10 averages, you'd have to lose 30 of them to offset what you saved. So there's no way you're going to lose 30 out of 100. If the post office starts losing 30 out of 100 packages, like we're done, like game over. Right. So yeah. So that's where I do the math for people. I'm like, based on a 100 shipment rate, there's no way that they're going to lose enough to offset what you save by using the standard.
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't, like I said, the people that have the big issues, I don't know. I don't know if that's a localized thing or something like that. How have you been with yours, Anthony?
I was going to say, I've only had since I've been using Simple Envelope, since really the beginning of them offering it. I might have had 3-4 issues with it, and only one that I even cared about. Like the one I cared about was like an $11 or $12 Joe Burrow rookie card. Other than that, it was all like, oh, this is like $1.50. Who cares? You know what I mean? Here's your $1.50. Leave me alone. Here's a $3 card. I don't care. Yeah. Just go away. You know what I mean? Like, leave me alone.
It's easier to refund it and move on.
Yep.
And it worked.
Yeah, if I didn't, all the all the standard card shipping is all $20 and under anyways. So it would really have to be more than $10 for me to pay. Like at $8 even, I'd probably be like, that sucks, but whatever. Like, get rid of it. But yeah, at that kind of savings that I'm saving $3 a package times hundreds of packages. Yeah, screw that.
Yeah.
I'll take my savings.
I mean, it's, and then who knows if they're going, I mean, it might not even, it's not even like it's going to be worth an option depending on what the post office does with this new ground shipping that they're going to be doing.
Combined shipping. Yeah. So that is supposed to start July the 7th. I think what is it called? Ground Advantage, right?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
I
think it's July 7th.
So all of a sudden now, I mean, you think about it from that standpoint, that's going to take, first class. Well, what was first class is not going to be as quick as it was at one point in time.
Nope.
So
July
who knows
9th.
how that's going to work out. July 9th?
July 9th. So that is that's a Sunday. What the hell? They say July 10th. That's the week after. You guys don't operate on July 9th. Shut up. Why are they putting July 9th on their thing? Yeah, I just Googled it. So USPS Ground Advantage will launch on July 9th. Provide a simple, reliable, more affordable way to ship packages up to 70 pounds in 2 to 5 business days. $100 insurance included with all Ground Advantage packages, which is a plus for the first class side of things.
Yes.
So package forwarding, return to sender endorsements, free package pickup on carrier routes. Published prices for USPS Ground Advantage will decrease 1.4% on average relative to current parcel select packages and first class package. USPS Ground Advantage will decrease 3.2% from the commercial ground prices. So they're saying they're all going to decrease in price, but
But still, I mean, it's going to be difficult to send a $4 card that way.
Yeah, no,
it's still not going to change what we do from that shipping standpoint.
So let me ask this: what would happen if standard card shipping ever didn't exist? Because what was the constant? And I think this was probably part of my influence also. There didn't used to be standard shipping. So what was the status quo before you didn't sell $3 or $4 cards? Basically,
so you have to lot them.
Well, no, I mean, what people would do, honestly, is I know a lot of people, they would open up a second store and they would use stamps.
Yeah.
They would still do a PWE, but they would do a stamp because they didn't want it to mess around with their top-rated seller stuff.
That makes sense,
Or lot. So from that standpoint, that's how you would sell a $3 card. You'd put two forever stamps on it, or one forever stamp, whatever it was.
50 cents, out the door it goes,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
But you had that problem of now you're operating 2 stores.
Yep. Not to mention with stamps, anybody that knows, they could take advantage of you. Same as they could now, but I mean, I could see it. But at the end of the day, again, if you're saving $3 a package and you're shipping hundreds of packages, I could see it. Because it's not like those card sellers just existed 5 months ago for standard shipping. The Ground Advantage thing, I'm waiting to see how it affects, because all my packages are first class. If I sell remotes, they're all first. How is this going to affect first class? Like, I hate when they change stuff.
Because like I know, like I still do some collectible stuff, and I still have some, even though I'm starting to switch. And get away from clothes and get away from bigger stuff, but getting more to the stuff that'll fit in a 6x4x4 box or an 8x6x4 box. The smaller, like you're saying, the smaller, first class stuff, or the stuff that might just be a little more than a pound, but still fits in a small box. You're right. From that standpoint, it's going to be interesting to see what happens and everything.
Yeah, I'll have to start.
Standpoint.
I as soon as it pops up on the shipping screen as a option to price compare it to see what it looks like compared to what we're used to paying now or versus other options. So July 9th. So we're just 19 days away from that. So
that's crazy.
Fun times that they're changing an entire sector of what a huge amount of sellers use every day, dozens of packages a day. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, it's not. I mean, there are a lot of companies that use first class for a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not just all us resellers. That there's mom and pop stuff. Who that custom make stuff that are less than a pound that they use the service for.
Costume jewelry is a big one that a lot of my viewers sell.
Yeah, that's true.
Gills even.
Yeah,
like bumper stickers, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Going to be fun times. I guess I'll have some contents for some videos, right?
There you go.
It's gonna be titled. Look, call it what you want. It's gonna be, and people can call it clickbait all they want, but it's gonna be like real bait. It's gonna say USPS, everything up as the title. I'm gonna get demonetized and booted off YouTube, but I'll be like, hey, wait a minute, it's not clickbait, it's legit. Like, look at this.
Yeah,
they wrecked the whole.
You're right. I mean, I hope it. I mean, I guess at least with the envelope, we won't have to worry about it. But if you sell that card, those other cards, it's going to change. If you sell that $25 card now, it's going to, affect how that gets shipped. But you're right. What is that? If that today, that $20 card today costs about $3.50, $3.88, sometimes depending on where it's going. What is it going to be? If you're telling me it's going to come down 1%. 1.4%.
3 cents, 4 cents.
All right. I guess at the end of the day, as long as it gets there, But I hope with this new method that the shipping times or the delivery times are a little more.
It says 2 to 5 days. It says 2 to 5, but I guess we'll see with that. My biggest fear is forget about the price and is eBay's system going to glitch out when this goes live?
Monday the 10th is going to be one hell of a day for people trying to print their labels for sale.
I'm going to get no less than 400 emails at 8 a.m. Monday morning. What's going on with eBay? What's going on with the shipping? I'm going to wake up and go. I'm going to have like a copy and paste like it's like click, click.
Your Facebook group is gonna go bananas.
Oh my god! I'm gonna have to have a scheduled video. I'm gonna have to record it on Sunday afternoon, on like the preemptive. Like, hey guys, I'm recording this Sunday, and I'm assuming if you're watching this Monday morning, everything is just putting this video out to let you know we're aware that everything is. Like that's gonna be Monday morning. It's like a scheduled video, 8 a.m. 8:01. Can't wait for that. Great. I just thought of that actually. Like I'm like, oh crap, everything's gonna glitch like eBay.
Yeah. No
eBay
doubt.
101. They find a way to glitch it.
You got that right. And on a Sunday when no one's gonna be around eBay.
No.
In a holiday week.
Oh,
so don't forget 4th of July is on Tuesday, so a bunch of people are taking the week off.
True.
Why would you pick a holiday month? Go August.
Why do they pick fourth quarter? Why do they pick fourth quarter every year to change everything?
Right.
It's eBay. Like people post stuff to get like negative social media attention just so they get engagement. I swear to God, eBay does that just to get people talking about them all fourth quarter or all holiday weekend. It might be like the reverse psychology on us. Like, oh, even if we screw it up, they'll talk about us and they'll come visit us.
That's true. You're right. They will.
Oh,
they will.
Good gracious.
It'll be all good.
What is it? Thursday already? Oh my God.
No, it's
we'll be in 15 minutes.
15 minutes will be Thursday.
On the East Coast, at least.
Yeah, we're on the East Coast. Yeah. So officially, Phoenix, I leave at 5:50 in the morning Monday, which is the 26th.
Is that a reseller thing?
Yeah. So List Perfectly is having a little group meetup with some of the affiliates and I think like 100 sellers, doing like some panels and workshop type things. It's not a big deal. October is obviously Boss Reseller Remix, which kind of replaced eBay Live or eBay Open rather, and because eBay Open doesn't do live events anymore since COVID, and Boss Reseller Remix replaced that. That'll be October 13th through the 16th, I believe. So that'll be like 500-600 people, but this one in Phoenix is only like 150 people. It's scheduled Monday afternoon when I arrive. Is scheduled to be 116 degrees. But it's a dry heat. You know what? I don't give a crap. That means my nose is going to bleed. My throat's going to hurt. Great. Thanks. Right. Dry heat. because in Florida it's humid. We get all the humidity in the Gulf Coast and stuff, and I'm used to that. I sweat and I'm like, okay, whatever. But a dry heat, I'm hot, I'm dying, and I'm not sweating. Like something's not right. I feel. So that'll be fun. So I'm there Monday through Friday. I leave Friday night. Be back here in Tampa like late Friday into Saturday. So we're gonna do some panels about. Obviously, they want to cover cross posting, multiple platforms. They want to cover like people that buy in bulk selling. They opened a camp listing party part of their website where people can advertise bulk and wholesale, like VA services, buying and liquidations, people that want to sell their stores off, all sorts of different activities on there. So that's pretty cool. They have I really don't know what all they have planned, but I'm just going because I'm one of their sponsors and they asked me to go. So
that's good.
116 degrees. Are you kidding me right now? Like, no, guys. I'm landing at the airport. Attached to the airport is the hotel. I don't intend on walking out of the doors into the air. Like, you guys are both older. You've seen Cool Runnings, right?
Oh yeah.
Remember when they land in Montreal and they come out and it's freezing and they go back there and they wrap all their clothes around it? I feel like that's going to be me in Phoenix, but I'm going to be like ripping everything off.
Yeah.
What's his name? Who's that actor? The dread-headed guy.
Was it Coolio, or did he just look like Coolio?
No, he looked like Coolio.
Okay.
He had the weird name. Dougie Doug.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Dougie Doug, yeah. He walks out there and he's like, "Woo," and he just wraps his entire suitcase of clothes on himself, and then he puts the bag over himself and walks out. That's a good time.
That's a classic.
Yeah, that's a classic. Yeah. So I see myself in Phoenix. If you've ever been to Vegas, when you walk out of the Vegas hotel at the terminal to get the Uber rides, the doors open up and you can just get hit with that blast of air. And it's like, we took my elderly parents like 4 years ago and it was like 115 degrees and they like breathed it in. They were like, I'm like, oh God, my parents are going to die in the middle of the Uber pickup. Like, Jesus. It's hard for me, even being from Florida, that Western air is just tough.
That's a different heat.
Different heat, yeah. Here it's humid and you sweat, but you feel you're hot. You know you're hot. Out there, it just overwhelms you. It's just you can't breathe out there. It's so hard. Oh.
Yeah, well, I taken my wife out there one time as a surprise birthday gift, which that part was the great idea. Her birthday being the third week in August was really bad idea. So at the hotel, they were actually pumping cold water into the pool because the temperature of the pool just sitting there was like 104 degrees.
Stop it.
So they were actually they had a hose in one end, they had a hose out the other end going out, and they were just trying to pump cold water and pump out as much hot water as they could. Nobody was going in the pool. But people are like, "What are you kidding me? I'm not going in a sauna because
like a hot tub." Yeah. Oh
nobody was going in.
Trish Glenn from Let's Purpose, she's like, "Oh, the hotel has a pool and a hot tub." I'm like, "A hot tub? What are you talking about? A hot tub?" Yeah. So that's my plan. If the water is decent, that's my plan next week. Is like being
nice.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll stay in the water if it's decent, but hot tub, crazy. And
what's great is your what you do for a living gives you that ability to do those type of things. I can't. I still have a regular, 9 to 5 job, but Anthony is like you, he gets to go ahead and, go out to LA and do all, fun stuff while he's working and having, doing it all in one time. Working.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I planned this as my life. Nobody would have thought, nobody knew about remote jobs or virtual working or learning or all this stuff back then. Of course not. That was kind of an accident, and I'm thankful for it to this day because I see people whose kids are raised in daycare and can't get away, like they can't do it, and I'm glad for that. But COVID, I think, really like blew this into our faces, whether you did work at home or whether you didn't work at home. And a lot of people, of course, transitioned into it. I think a lot of businesses figured it out. Like, we don't need these people here. They can work at home.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are built for that. Some people aren't. And I'd love your guys' thought on that. But COVID really showed us like the remote working world. And of course I'd already been in it. So like me seeing it from the outside, I was like, I knew all that. Like, I see you guys, like you guys are going to an office where you were the only person there and it was such a waste of time. But
yeah,
what do you guys think? Like the whole COVID, changeover in the world and now remote working and stuff. What do you think of that? Like each of you?
I think it made it acceptable, like to the broad, like
That's a great word, yeah.
you know, spectrum of people. Whereas like before COVID happened, like people would be like, "You work at home from your house, like doing what?" Like
Yeah.
eBay, XYZ. Like whereas like COVID hit and it's like everybody worked at home from their house, so like wasn't like, you know, it wasn't weird anymore. It wasn't something people were like, "Oh, you do what?" You know what I mean? Like now it's like something to where like even certain jobs still stayed, you know, remote, as opposed to like going back to, you know, office culture. What's up, lady
Acceptable.
fella?
Yeah. See, like me, I went ahead and I switched jobs in 2017 where I was, full time in an office. We were able to work from home 1 day a week. And basically, it had to be either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Was not allowed to be a Monday. Was not allowed to be a Friday. And then when I switched to the new job, uh, it was the team was a remote team, so we started that way. But the office was here in Atlanta, so I was still like go in every now and again. And finally, my boss was like, "What the hell are you doing here? Nobody from your team is here. Why you come in?" I was like, "I don't know. I guess I didn't realize I was institutionalized, from my other job and everything." But I mean, I'll tell you how much it's changed for us in that. So in the last 2 years we have condensed where we had about 8 buildings. Now we're down to 4.
Wow, and half, yeah.
Yeah, we've given 50% of our space back to, that we don't need anymore. And they've revamped everything too. The other thing, like, so they have more of the hotel type, what they call. You basically have to, and you reserve a desk when you want to go in, because so many people now don't go in anymore. If you for some reason want to go in, they ask you to, go online and reserve a desk, and you
Mm,
can reserve it for a 4-hour time slot.
wow, that's crazy. So
Yeah.
how many people are on average in those 4, like give or take? Do you know?
Oh, less than a dozen. It's still, you know, they it's still nowhere near where it was. There's
Wow.
very few people that, that go in anymore.
The world changed, like the working world changed, like insane. I working for a corporate building or a corporate office, one of those buildings that has like 10 floors with 1,000 people in it, is just alien to me. But I imagine people that work for those companies, like everything was just like you said, nobody even goes into those anymore. It wasn't necessary. And there's some people, I bet they probably got fired quick. Like they can't wake up working from their house. They can't get up. They can't
Yeah.
do stuff. There's some people that are built for it. They'll just go in their office, like I'm in my office now, and just work and close the door.
Yep.
But there's some people that are just laying in bed and they're like, "Oh, I don't got to go to work today." Woo! And then
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
you didn't produce this week either. So guess what?
Yep. Yeah, and that was one of the things when they started going back, when they they got to that point where, like, my company is probably a little more liberal woke area. But they, they when they did the whole, we want people to come back and everything, they actually went. I'll give them one thing they did. They went to the directors and they said, "Hey, how is your team doing? How was your team performing, 2017, 2018, 2019? How have they been performing, 2021, 22?" And, you know, they were like, there were ones that said, "Hey, my team needs to go back in the office." They're like, "Okay, we'll carve out space for you." And then
Yeah.
they took, and the ones that were like, "No, my team has actually produced better, not having to come into the office every single day. Okay, you guys can have, you can come in if you want to come in and do the, reserve a desk, or if you want to stay at home, just stay at home. We don't care." You
As
know.
long as you're getting the job done, yeah.
Well, that's the big thing. It's like, the company I used to work for before, when you had to like kind of make sure everything you were doing, you had to know, that was more the boss that I had generated, and here it was like, my boss, he would tell me, like, "I don't care how many hours it takes you to do your job. If I don't get calls from the people that you're working with, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
I could care less. If it takes you 80 hours to do your job this week, oh well, you obviously were not you were doing something not right. If it takes you 25 hours to do your job this week, okay, it takes you 25 hours. He's like, I don't care. They've moved more towards results driven than really anything else.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's what I would, if I was the guy that owned the company or the boss or whatever, I'd be like, I don't care how long it takes you. You're getting paid for X and you are getting the job done or you're not. If I don't get a call or somebody complaining, done. Like, I don't care what you have to do to get the job done, get it done.
Yeah. It may be those, and there are times when we have to work the weekends. There are times when we don't have to work the weekends. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, some days are more busy than others. There's times that I can wake up on a Saturday morning and ask Kate in the other room, I'm like, do we have anything to do today? And she's like, no, you took care of it all. And then there's days where she's like, you remember all those boxes you didn't pack? Do you remember all those emails? Do you remember all that shit you didn't do? And I'm like, yeah, we're working. And she'll be out. I'm going to the lagoon, full circle. I'm going to the lagoon at 10 a.m. with the girls. We'll catch you later. I'm like, crap. And I'm sitting in the office all day. Like, this sucks. There's definitely weeks. And so it was a change. It was a big, big change. To me, nothing changed because I was at home, but I saw everyone around me, all my friends and family and everybody. I saw it all around me. So I was like, wow,
I wondered, like, the people that were full-time resellers, I guess, that at that point in time was probably the only advantage to having that death pile or profit pile. You know what I'm saying? Like, when everything, you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't get anything. I mean, that was probably the only time it's been an advantage to have that big-ass pile of stuff sitting there waiting to be listed.
Yep. All those stores were closed. You couldn't go into any of them. Yep, they were everything was closed. You couldn't leave your house. You couldn't do nothing. There was no way to get inventory. I had stuff, but I panicked because after a couple weeks, all of us were like, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. We'll be back to work. And then after like 2 months, I was like, this isn't quite going the way we thought it would go. What if I run out of stuff? Like what? And then I panicked. I started panic calling everybody I knew. And I'm like, sell me stuff. They're like, I can't get stuff. Why would I sell you stuff? I'm like, sorry, just kidding. Next. Like I was like a maniac. Like, what can I get? What can I get? And, Kate's like, oh, you thought you'd never get through these few thousand pieces. I'm like, well, we're going to be through it in like 3 days. So what do we do after that? And then she's like, you better find more. And I'm like, nobody's selling anything. And then I stumbled upon the tractor trailer from Virginia that had the 100,000 pieces of clothes because their thrift store was closed. They couldn't sell any of their clothes, but they were still getting donations. So they filled up an entire storage building behind the store, and they couldn't put it in the store because nothing was selling from the store because it was closed. So they're like, well, we have too much. We've got to get rid of this. Fill up the tractor trailer. I bought that, and that's how we made it. That was April of 2020, right in the middle of it. And that lasted us like 6 months. So that was my pandemic.
How do you process? How do you go through saying, you know what, there's a 53-foot freaking tractor trailer full of stuff. I think I'm going to buy that. Like, how do you get to that freaking point?
At the time, I was renting that no air conditioning building with like 2,500 square feet in Tampa. So we had the truck deliver there. We unpacked it. It was, 25 pallets. I don't even know how much it was. It took all day to unpack that thing. And then we would take, I have a pickup truck. Everybody thinks I just drive the car, but I have a pickup truck too. And we would load the pickup truck with like 100 bags of clothes, drive it home. And at the time, I lived really close to that building. I don't live there now, but so 15 minutes, we drive home, we'd bring the bags into the house, and we just start ripping them open and going through like garbage pile, good pile, maybe pile, garbage, good, maybe. All the garbage, we donate it to one of those rag houses that scraps it into rags. So we would take all that to them. And then the good stuff, we would obviously make sure it was good to go, list it. And then the maybe stuff we would go through later on in the day. And we would go through 20, 30 bags, 40, 50 bags a day. And it took 4 or 5 months, 6 months. I don't even know how long it took. It took a while. But we only paid like with delivery. They only charged me $1,500 for that truck.
Oh my God.
The shipping was $3,000. Yeah. So I paid $4,500 or $5,000. And then I bought a ton of boxes and shipping materials to bulk sell it. And obviously I kept some stuff for myself to individually sell, but I bulk sold a lot of good stuff. Like there was Gucci going into boxes and stuff. And we were selling them for like $100, $150 a box. And we did 30,000 in profit over 3 months. So we were making 10 grand a month, but it overwhelmed my life. All the rest of my business suffered. and I was averaging about 15,000 a month in total profit at that point, and it was really suffering. So I realized, like, unless you have an operation, that's not a good idea in the future. Like, you got to have a conveyor belt, like a chain going. But yeah, so, and I made money. It was great. It was good during the pandemic because we couldn't get out. We made money off it. We did great. But in hindsight, I would never do it again. Unless I had an entire operation. Like, I'm talking 20 employees to sit there and go through that shit.
Well, I could imagine how overwhelming that could be, 2 people.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you hit.
I paid somebody I paid an employee to come help. Like, for 3 months, I paid an employee, like, just to come a couple hours a day, like 15 hours a week, say 60 hours a month. And I was paying them like $1,000, $1,200, like $20 an hour to come help. It was, even that didn't matter. And it's like, we need 10 people, 15 people. Like, 3 of us couldn't get through these bags. We would be all 3 sitting in the living room, cracking these bags open, dumping and going. And at some point, all 3 of us would be like just falling over, like trying to find something to talk about, something to work. This is miserable. Oh, and the other miserable part, this is the other reason I wouldn't do it. Solely, wholly, if you told me it was $100,000 in profit, I wouldn't do it. We opened bags that had cat piss in it. Like, we opened bags that had broken nail polish all over it.
Oh, wow.
Like, somebody had nail polish in a bag, or they donated, or in their pocket, or whatever. It would just, and I'd be covered in nail polish. I'm like, what are you doing right now? Yeah, there was some bad bags. It is what it is. Learning lesson. I made money, but yikes.
Right.
All the fun times, all the transitions into different businesses.
And now you're looking for the next, big card collection to buy.
And you know what? The adapt or die rule pertains there, because during the pandemic, there was nothing else to buy. And I'm sure I could have dug for out. That was what was available. So I adapted to doing that. And now that I'm here where I'm at, and I wanted to get rid of the clothing, I adapted to what's the next thing. I'm constantly changing. I've sold remotes. I've sold sports cards and trading cards and magic cards before. I sold clothing. I sold cell phones. I had an entire cell phone business. Everybody knows that story from back when. And whatever. And I made a lot of money doing that, and I learned a lot of lessons. And but I've changed business, not changed businesses, but changed angles. I call them angles,
right,
100 times. So it's just part of business. Even the people that, like, they own a sports trading card shop, they might start selling jerseys, they might start selling sports tickets, or there's always different things you have to do. Adapt.
Do you see yourself getting into some of that other kind of stuff? I mean, or as it presented to you?
No, I want to work from home. My entire life journey was to work at home, make content, sell goods. If it can fit in the garage, I'm buying it. If it can't, I'm not buying it anymore.
Really?
It would have to be something monstrous, like a huge, like, buy this 1 million signed Tom Brady helmets for $5, and then okay, I'll consider it, and I'll get building, and I'll put them in there. Right? Like, it would have to be something nuts.
Those would be hot in Tampa.
Yeah, tell me about it. They keep saying he's gonna come back to Vegas. I'm like, guys, shut up. He's not playing again. Stop it.
He's making all kinds of money to be a broadcaster now.
Yeah, Fox is paying him $350 million over 10 years. He's getting the Hertz. You guys have seen the Hertz commercials where he plugs himself in.
I can't stand those commercials.
So that I can't. We get him in Tampa like every 5 minutes. I swear to God.
Oh, gosh.
They paid him $5 million for a year of that. Like, here's $5 million. And don't forget, Florida has no state income tax, so he's not paying. When there was a big bidding thing on, like, Tom going to Tampa, or there was the talk of him going to Miami, and then everybody's like, no, Tom's a San Francisco boy. He's going back. I'm like, he's not going to California and paying them $10 million in taxes. He's going to Florida, Tampa or Miami. Take your pick. If he goes to Jacksonville, I wouldn't be surprised. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, they didn't realize, like, how, because he signed, remember, a $50 million contract. You're talking about $5-10 million in income tax. Yeah, he's not giving that away. Get out of here. Not to mention everybody likes to live in Florida because it's Florida, but yeah,
it's substantial.
Yep. Everybody don't know this. All the wrestlers, they all live in my neighborhoods. All these neighborhoods around here, all the professional wrestlers live here. I have a video up. I did an estate sale at Chris Jericho's house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I own his office. He had an original copy of The Lion, his biography, that he had signed, and I own them. They're downstairs. I'll never sell them. They are VHS tapes of him and Owen Hart from the early 90s in Japan wrestling together.
Oh,
That's
wow.
awesome.
From his house, yeah. So we have a ton of wrestlers. They all come here. They all retire here or live here.
So Anthony is a former professional wrestler.
Yeah. So
nothing big like him, but yeah, that's super cool to hear.
Yeah. So if you ever want to come down here, they literally live in all these neighborhoods. So the Big Show lives in a town called Odessa. His house is down there. Chris Jericho lived literally 5 minutes from where I live now. Hulk Hogan, obviously, that house was in Clearwater Beach, which is like 45 minutes. They all live around here because there's no taxes. There's some pictures on my Facebook of me with Hawk and Jimmy Hart.
That's awesome.
They all live here. The entire Hart family lived here for a while. Jim the Anvil lived here. Who else? All the girls, the Bella twins lived here. John Cena lived here down in Clearwater as well. There's no taxes. You're saving on their incomes. You're saving hundreds of thousands, if not millions.
Yeah, for sure.
Of money. So, yeah, and it's cool. Like anywhere you go, they're in a lot of the restaurants, and nobody really messes with them. Nobody they don't get into them. We have a really famous wine and steakhouse here. Jerry Springer, who actually just died, he used to be there like a weekly. You could go to Burns and see Jerry Springer there every weekend. But a lot of the wrestlers go there because it's like they're wine drinkers, shockingly. Yeah. And it's just a popular place to see celebrities. You can go there and have dinner, and they'll be sitting right across from you. So if you ever come down here, just take a tour around the city for a week. You'll see plenty of restaurants.
It's one of the spots in Florida I haven't been to yet. Been
Tampa,
to Orlando, been to Miami, a few other spots, Jacksonville. Not to,
Most people go to Orlando, obviously Disney and tourists. People go to Miami, South Beach. They go to Key West from there. Nobody makes it to Tampa. Tampa's a much younger city, and it's like Clearwater, St. Pete, Tampa. And I feel like a ton of celebrities live here over – like Miami is the ballers, like Diddy and all that. But Tampa's like the middle of the line kind of people because it's off the beaten path and people stay away from here as much. And we have the lowest county tax in the state, actually. One of our counties is the county I live in. And it's just a cool place. You're on the Gulf Coast. I prefer the Gulf over the Atlantic. The Gulf is peaceful and calm and cool and collected. We get the Gulf winds. Over in the Atlantic, you got sharks and we don't got sharks in the Gulf. If that kid jumped off the cruise ship in the Gulf of Mexico, he'd be alive. He wouldn't have died from the shark. Too soon? Too soon?
No, not too soon. A year ago, my mom moved to Fort Myers.
Yes, that's out. So did she get through the storm or was it before or after?
It was before.
Oh,
so
wow.
She made it. Luckily, in her area, and where she lives, they had a little water come in the garage and a little water come in on the lanai. But the house, no trees, no nothing. I mean, nothing, whatsoever. And I went to college in Lakeland.
Oh, just 25 minutes out the back of me.
Yeah, I went to Florida Southern.
There you go. Oh, Florida Southern. There you go. Yeah, no, that's like 25, 30 minutes from me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lakeland is not too far. Yeah. So this area is just a really calm, cool, collected area. And there's a lot of cool people live here, a lot of great places to go. And there's a lagoon. There's a lagoon.
I was going to say the place. Yeah. I mean, you do your videos. I hear I'm at work right now and you're at the bar sitting there typing on your laptop and everything. And you see the damn picture behind you. But it was funny, but you don't really live there.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's hilarious because the internet is this entire neighborhood. So at the lagoon, we get the same internet that I have here at the house. So I can sit there and work. I really can. And during the daytime, like Monday through Friday, like say they open at like 9:30 or 10, all the way through like 6 p.m. on the weekdays, no one's there. Like who's going to go there at like 1 p.m. on a Tuesday, right? Like people are working. Now it's a little busier because it's summer, but no one's there. And so you can sit there with you and like 2 other people at the bar. And usually they're my neighbors, so I know them anyway, so we can chit chat or whatever. And you can just sit there and work and no one messes with you. There's nothing going on and have a beer while you're just sitting there. And like, the bar, like Anna will come over in the bar and she'll be like, Casey, you good? You want another beer? I'm like, when did I have the last one? I'm like, I got to work. I don't want to send an email that I'm going to regret tomorrow. But yeah. So, and then when you're done, even if you have a few drinks, you pack up and you walk home or you get in the golf cart and go home. You don't have to drive. You don't have to worry about any of that, crap. You're 500 yards from your house. Like it's, so yeah, I love it.
That's living.
Yep.
No, it is. It's a bad temptation. It's a bad temptation to go there.
But you know what? But that's a lot of hard work that paid off.
Yep, and a lot of good timing. We moved here. We signed the contract in July of 2020, and we moved in May of 21. It took like 9 months, and right now almost double our houses are. If I had to move in this neighborhood right now, I couldn't afford it. There's no way. Interest rates and the pricing. I could never even think of living here right now. I know what. There's a couple houses that just finished my street, and I know what they paid and what their monthly payment is. I'm like, yeah, right. Not in this planet. They're paying $4,000 or $5,000 a month. I'm like, you guys are crazy. Whatever. Like, yeah. So, yeah, it's cool here in Florida. It's cool. It's very good. So,
well, excellent.
that's it. No, this is awesome. Like, God,
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Sorry, the internet. We had a storm. We're gonna get storms overnight. We're gonna get storms tomorrow. Florida. Welcome to Florida in June and July. So.
Yeah, we have the same thing here. They said I'm in just northwest of Atlanta right now.
Yeah.
And they're saying that probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock, we should have a nice thunderstorm go through. So my dogs will be awake, so I won't be sleeping that much tonight.
Yeah, mine wakes up and it's over. Yeah. No, it's that season, so we're used to it. I'm actually going to buy, I think I was talking to her before everybody starts price gouging. I'm going to buy indoor, instead of a generator, because the generator I've had, the battery backup that comes inside and has like the solar charging panel.
Oh, yeah.
It's expensive. You can spend anywhere from like $600, $700, $800 up to $1,000 on it. But the generator can't come inside because of the gas. It has to sit outside. It's a pain in the ass. But this can come inside, and this one can power like laptops, mini refrigerators, so your food and medicines. You can power a lot of stuff for like 24 hours, and then you can solar charge it. Yep. I was like, in fact, it'll power the router and the modem in the event that we lose stuff, so we have internet and all that. And I was like, we should maybe think about investing in this, for $700 or $800. It might be worth having.
Oh, sure.
So I'm going to go shopping for that probably this weekend.
Especially with your whole business being at home and being linked to the internet.
Right. So that's what we're thinking about, in the event that we do lose everything. So it's a little steep, $700, $800, but I think it's a good investment. So that's my goal for the weekend. But yeah.
Well, there you go.
Right. So bedtime for me, it's after midnight.
Yeah. But thank you so much. We appreciate you carving out the time on your day and everything. Maybe, in a few months, go ahead and come back and you can go ahead and you talk about how their transition's working for you and everything.
I would love it. Yeah, we're in June. Let's plan for. I'll be back July. Let's plan for August. Let's do another one in August.
Okay.
Perfect.
Sounds great.
Stay in touch, boys. Enjoy your evening. What's left of it.
You too. Yeah. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Much appreciated. Don't forget, next Wednesday we'll be on Anthony's channel. Catch us there. We'll probably have another great guest. Everybody, thanks a lot. Appreciate you. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and do all the good things.